Hi everyone, and welcome to the Justice Jam 2017 panel session. My name is Vanessa Perez and I'm the Associate Director of Time for Change Foundation. And the mission of Time for Change is to empower disenfranchised homeless individuals and families by building leadership through evidence-based programs and housing to create self-sufficiency and thriving communities. And today on our panel, I have these dynamic women here in the room. Ladies, can you go ahead and introduce yourselves and who you represent?
Yes, hello. Senator Connie Leyva, representing the Senate District 20 from Pomona out to San Bernardino.
I'm Assemblymember Eloise Reyes, representing the 47th Assembly District from Grand Terrace, Colton, Rialto, San Bernardino, and Fontana.
And I'm Mayor Deborah Robertson, representing the wonderful city of Rialto, the jewel of the Inland Empire.
That's right. Yes. Well, thank you ladies for being with us this morning. And you know, Senator Leyva, I know you started off bagging groceries in your local market and you worked your way up to representing thousands of workers. Tell me, where did your passion for employment come from?
I think my passion for employment comes from knowing that if people have a good job, it fixes so much of what ails us in society. Not only does it help the individual, it helps their family. When we look at moms and dads who are working 2 and 3 jobs to keep a roof over everyone's head, then the kids aren't getting the attention that they need so that they can do well in school, and things can spiral out of control. So having a good union job for my entire life, my family was always able to pay the bills, and I want that for everyone in the district.
And that's great, and that's what everyone deserves, is to have that good, decent wage paying job so they can afford to make a living and take care of their families. Great.
Exactly.
Assemblymember Reyes, as a Latina woman myself, I just have to say that you really inspire me, especially being the first Latina woman to open up her own law firm in the Inland Empire. That's kudos to you for that. And I know you started your humble beginnings picking grapes and fruit in the fields with your families, and I'm sure that housing must have been an issue for you growing up as well. So can you just share a little bit about what your passion for housing comes from?
I think it comes from that, and knowing that we come from humble beginnings, and knowing that you have a safe place to come to every night is very important. My parents are my greatest example. My mother, married at the age of 14, came from Mexico to join my dad. By the age of 21, she and my dad had purchased their first home in South Colton for $1,000.
Wow.
And after that, the next one for $5,000. That has been their way of taking care of their children. But housing is so much more important, because when we see, you talked earlier about the homeless issue, we've got to take care of that. It's our responsibility to make sure that we find a path for many to get to their own home.
No, definitely. And at Time for Change Foundation, we believe that everyone is deserving of a home that is nurturing, supportive. So without that, you have nothing.
That's true.
Thank you for sharing that. Mayor Robertson.
Yes, hey Vanessa.
Hey, thank you for hosting us here in the wonderful city of Rialto. Thank you for the space. This is awesome. And you know, I just wanted to congratulate you on being mayor for the last 5 years and for being the first African American mayor of the city of Rialto. That's amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's an interesting, it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah.
And when I came to Rialto back in 1988 and in the 90s, the African American population was relatively strong in Rialto. Then over the period, everything has changed, and it's greater diversity, but it's still been, you know, a tribute to the fact that the diversity and me sitting here represents everybody being a part of my election, not just one group. So.
Exactly. And I know you've had many years on city council, and you've had about 20 years on the Transportation Commission. And so can you just tell us a little bit about where your passion and commitment to transportation comes from?
You know, well, besides the fact that I worked for the department, for the state of California, Department of Transportation, for as many years as you've said, prior to coming here, I also was born and raised in San Diego, California. And just what the senator spoke to, I come from a union background, you know, where wages and good employment is important. And what Assemblymember Reyes spoke to about housing and how her parents came here. I'm the first generation California in my family. My parents came from Texas and Louisiana, and actually they also bought their home here in California, the first one in 1951, which I'm happy to say my mother is still there and living in that same home. And so, you know, home, housing, and good employment is important, but then also transportation is relevant to the house, the job, and having the ability to get and having access to transportation. It really adds not only for the essentials, but it also adds for the opportunity to travel, to take family on outings, and a way to really enjoy a family experience. So I just can't help but be concerned about transportation. Transportation as it relates to being inefficient, not that it's totally deficient. And I'm happy to say that yesterday I had an opportunity to sit down with Omnitrans and speak to the concerns of just transportation for the working class, and its ability to be, what would you say, able to be sufficient enough to meet the needs to accomplish what you want. It shouldn't have to be an either or. And I think oftentimes we work with our agencies like it's got to be an either or. And it's really about funding. So when you partner, and that's why I'm happy I'm here with these lovely ladies, because besides just complaining, there's a window of opportunity. We have SB 1 just passed. Transportation bill, and I want to make sure we don't just focus on the infrastructure of roads for vehicles, but we look at those other modes of transportation.
Oh, absolutely.
No, definitely, and especially thinking of single women and single mothers who have children and having to take their children maybe on a bus to a doctor's appointment stuff. It's a little challenging, and so having those resources are definitely what's needed to make more adequate transportation for our families.
And in their district, I think Rialto, as well as San Bernardino and Colton, we're probably some of the more transit-dependent communities. Our constituents still rely on it, and they're not selecting it because that's the choice and the way they want to go. It's because it's almost essential and it's a need.
No, definitely. Well, thank you for your passion on that. And I also wanted to congratulate you on being the only city in the county of San Bernardino for getting granted award of Prop 47 funds. That is amazing. You went after it. You went after those funds and you got it. And we're so excited for you. You know, at Time for Change Foundation, we really want to emphasize the need for women and girls to be represented in those fundings and that reward. So we just applaud you for your work and just going after that and getting it.
Yes, and and it was an amazing journey there as well, and the partnerships and working with, again, agencies, our regional agencies, the probation department, they're going to handle focusing on the distribution of Prop $47, excuse me, I'm 64, 47, 77. They're going to handle the rollout of the dollars for the adult population, and we in the city of Rialto will be focusing on ages 14 to 17. And I think what made us successful is, again, partnerships, multi-jurisdictional grant. So our grant covers not only, while we were the lead, it also covers San Bernardino and Colton. So we will be reaching out, and that's a natural because our school districts and our communities, we don't see borders. We see cooperative and collaborative relationships. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, we look forward to
and
great
the staff
work.
is in Sacramento as we speak, being briefed on the grant and what's expected.
That's great.
Awesome.
That's great.
All right, so I want to move into some critical facts with you ladies. I have some shocking data that I just wanted to share. So, did you know that in order to afford a one-bedroom apartment in the IE, you need to make an hourly wage of $17.46? And did you know that there are 34,955 households on the public waiting list while there are only 1,309 slots available? And shockingly, 62.3% of women are commuting more than 15 minutes to get to their workplace. So, Senator Leyva, under your progressive leadership and vision for the district that you represent, what are some of the things that you would like to see in your district?
Oh my goodness, so many. How do I talk about it in a short amount of time? I have to always go back to jobs because that is the most important. As the mayor said, so is transportation. And it can't just be about getting in your car and driving. We need better public transportation. We look at the SBX in San Bernardino, and those are also clean energy vehicles. We need the Gold Line to extend all the way out here. We need the Metro to continue to go where it's going. And we need to make sure it's affordable for folks, that if you're going to get in public transportation, that you can afford to do that. Housing is of critical importance. We have a number of bills that the Assembly member and I, in her house and my house, that we're working on for affordable housing. It is really housing and the homeless issue is really the issue of our lifetime, and we have to figure out how to make that work. And there are some good bills that we hope will get through both houses and the governor will sign that will bring quite a bit of money to this region. Women's issues are absolutely huge for me. I grew up in a house where I had a very supportive father, I have a very supportive husband, and I had no idea, I didn't realize how bad it still is for women. And when women don't have a good job, they can't change their situation. So for me, so many things go back to having a good job. Minimum wage jobs are poverty level jobs. We have to make sure that we desire more in the Inland Empire. We have warehouses everywhere. They're not all bad jobs, but so many of them are poverty level jobs. And I just think we need to raise the expectation in the Inland Empire and expect more because we deserve more. And I could go on for a very long time, but I know these ladies have wonderful things to say too, so thank you
Well,
very much.
and I'm really glad that you brought up the issue of having access to affordable housing. You know, Time for Change Foundation, we are actually developers of our own affordable housing, the Phoenix Square, which all of you ladies have come and visit. Mayor Robertson, you were actually there recently.
Yes.
So tell me what you ladies thought about the Phoenix Square.
Well, actually, if you don't mind, I'll go first. I was sitting
were
down
just there.
yesterday.
Yes.
No, yesterday with a developer, and the day before with one of the pastors. And pastor walked in, and he's wanting to donate land. And I said I wanted to use the Phoenix House and Time for Change model as an opportunity to see if perhaps we could replicate what is going on with your facility in Rialto. So I've already had conversations with the persons who are doing affordable housing construction. Talked to our staff yesterday about what are the resources that are available to make that happen. I'm excited about that facility. I couldn't really say how many units were within, but I suspect there's at least 6 to 8 units in there. And
7.
7, see,
Yeah,
and,
right in the middle
and
there.
I was sitting right in one of them. I mean, and
They're beautiful.
they're beautiful.
They really are
beautiful.
You know, I wish I had that in some days when the significant other spouse and others are getting on my nerves. I could just go into one of those units and close up myself. And, no, but it's exciting, and so I'm looking forward to seeing if we can't create something similar. And then in addition to that, back to homeless. I was with the developer yesterday because I found in the county we are putting in some transitional homes and housing to deal with the homeless, especially those with mental illnesses. And again, I'm working on right now. I've convened a group of people in our community, and I'm hoping the senator's staff and some member of staff can come to the meeting on Tuesday. I know Time for Change is going to be there, so that we can now focus on the homeless, what I call the homeless residents of Rialto. They are still residents of
Yeah,
Rialto.
that's
They're
right.
just without
Exactly.
home. And I think we have to think of them as that they are our homeless.
That's right.
I think that's
right.
really important
Yeah.
to remind ourselves that they are residents.
Yeah.
Whether it's Rialto or Colton, San Bernardino,
Yep.
Fontana,
Yeah.
they are our residents, and we do need to take
you
care
know,
of them.
and I always say to them jokingly, you know, they don't get up from Redlands, out of the canyon of Redlands in the morning and say, oh, I'm going to go over and spend the day in Rialto. No, there's a relationship and a proximity.
That's right.
And they are Rialto's homeless residents, just like they were and we need to see that and not expect us to figure out, government, go do something
Yeah.
with them and
right.
about them, and hopefully take them somewhere else. Where? They're
Exactly.
here for a reason. Some situations, some financial circumstances has created it. So,
And that's why we're here, because we are here to do the work.
And
And
we
we
still
have
have-
the model. We have the nationally recognized model, and
It is a great
proven,
model.
evidence-based, and it works. So
and give them back the dignity.
yes,
Yes.
the dignity that they deserve. Thank you. Assemblywoman Reyes, I know you have a bill that you're currently carrying, AB 1268, a domestic violence bill, which sets aside some funds to help victims of domestic violence. Is there anything else that you'd like to see for the district that you represent?
I think in general, economic opportunities. For so long, we have great people here in our district, and we just need to be able to bring the resources and the opportunities back to our district. And I think that two priorities for the Assembly, I'm sure for the Senate as well, were transportation and housing.
Oh,
With
absolutely.
SB 1, we were able to take care of the transportation needs, and making sure that every single one of our cities is going to receive a dollar amount.
That's right.
Rialto is going to receive over $2 million on an annual basis. San Bernardino and Fontana, over $4 million on an annual basis. These are important factors to consider. The other was housing. And we're so excited that there is a housing package being put together as we speak, and we hope that by Monday we'll be voting on it. But we need to bring the money back for affordable housing, just as the mayor has talked about. We have to have those resources, and we have to, once these bills do pass and are signed by the governor, we are there to fight to make sure
we get our
that
share.
our district receives its fair share of the funding, because that has been missing in the past.
Exactly, and I love that you mentioned that you need to make sure that our districts get the fair share. And I mean, we believe at Time for Change, we would like to see us nonprofits being able to have direct access to the funding as well, not really have to funnel through a government agency, but us really being able, you know, we have the capacity and we're able to manage these funds and we're able to produce effective, great results. So that's something I think that we would like to see come out of that as well.
In addition, because you are already proven to be a successful, you've done successful projects, others who don't have that success could be funneled through you as well, so that they could then receive their funding through you. And I think we need to look at alternative ways of taking care of the issue, so that it doesn't go through just a government entity, but rather funneled directly to the very organizations that are taking care of business.
Yeah, maybe we could talk a little bit more on that after
You know
the show.
we will.
Well, Vanessa, and I would just like to let you know that you and Kim are probably getting your wish. I was just informed yesterday that the governor did put the money back in for the CalGrip program, and so we will have grants to continue on with the Summer Bridge program that Rialto's running. And I also found out that the language this time allows for nonprofits and other agencies besides just governmental to go after the grants. So
that's good news.
So yes,
Thank you for sharing.
And I advocate the same position you're advocating
Thank
for Time for Change and nonprofits. I also advocate that, and they know I've come up, that the dollars can flow directly to this local government. I don't necessarily need them to come through the regional body and a sub-regional body. It's good when I get a portion of that as well, but I think we can manage for our community. We're very capable, and I'd like to make sure that we have those local directions.
We have to find all the right models. It's not one model fits all.
That's right.
Yes. So
Let's do it.
let's do it. Yeah.
Great. Okay, well, Mayor Robertson, I know you sit on many commissions and boards. Is there anything that you could tell the viewers that they can do to support the work that you're doing in transportation?
For starters, I would tell the viewers to come out on July 22nd for the Justice July Jamboree and support us on what we're doing and the direction we're going, and look for innovative ideas to come from us and to support us on those, because the decisions happen locally, and the need to take care of, they represent us at the state level, but the day-to-day things happen locally, and it's all the partnership of them knowing what I need, and then hopefully they're in the position to help bring the resources and the support to my community as they do to all the other communities. So on transportation, I would just ask people to be more engaged and realize that they are the customer, and the facility and services are out there for them. So
Definitely, and in every issue that we spoke on today, housing, transportation, employment, that these are statewide issues. You know, Prop 47 funding. We want to see all women and girls throughout the state receive their fair share. And so I'm kind of glad you brought up our Justice in July Jamboree. That's a great segue for this point. We're so excited, and we thank you ladies for partnering with us to do that. So if you could describe the Justice Jamboree in one word, what word would it be?
Motivational.
For me, equity. I want to find the equity for all of our young girls, our women. I want to find that equity for everyone.
I would say outcomes.
That's good.
I'm looking for outcomes.
That's great. Awesome. Motivation, equity, outcomes, those are just a few words to describe it, but I just want to let our listeners know the mayor said it herself, come out and support. On July 22nd, our Justice in July Jamboree is going to be held from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Rialto City Hall. We're going to have live entertainment. We're going to have a resource fair outside. We're having a kids corner, a misting section so you can cool off so you don't have to worry about being in the heat. We got free food. We're going to have a Prop 47 clinic. We're also going to have rental utility payment assistance and employment and housing assistance services, so you don't want to miss that. We're also having our listening session where we're going to be able to talk about these issues, and you can come, you can tune in, and you can support and let your voices be heard. So I just want to thank you ladies again for coming out. We're so excited to have this event. We can't wait, and we hope to see all of you there.